if you're tired of chasing banks and credit unions to give you a loan and they won't work with you because you have bad credit, I'm gonna show you some of the best lenders that you possibly have an easier chance with. Now, the first one we're talking about is green dollar loans. Now, here's the thing about it with green dollar loans. They are a platform. All right. And as you can see here, they offer loans from 100 up to $5,000, right? And you can see here the platform with the for the lenders that they work with go anywhere from 5.99 up to 35.99. That's pretty much about the average with the banks as well in terms of loans. Now, here's the thing about it. Because they are a platform, you would put in your data and they will send it out to their lenders. Most of the time, they're going to be working with tribal lenders, okay? Most of the time, they will be working with tribal lenders in order to help you get qualified for a loan, all right? So this is the first lender. Now, speaking of tribal lenders, the next lender we're talking about is Explore Credit. Now, a lot of people have been having success with Explore Credit when they have challenging credit. Granted, they only go up to $2,000, but they are a direct lender. Okay, and that's what most people are looking for, loans that they can get from a direct lender without shopping their information. Now, here's the thing about it. Explore Credit is not in all 50 states. All right. And because they are not regulated by the federal government in terms of their interest rates, it's definitely going to be much higher when you're trying to get approved. All right. So the thing about it, when you back is against the wall and you can't borrow money from nobody, the next lender we're going to be talking about is Money Key. Now, many of you may have heard of Money Key, and they offer loans as well. As a matter of fact, you can see here they offer not only loans or installment loans, but they offer lines of credit. And when you go here, you can actually see what it is that they offer in your state. So say that you was in Arizona, it tells you that they offer a line of credit in Arizona from 500 up to $3,500. All right. So you would have to play around with it to see what they offer in your state. Like the state of Florida, they offer a line of credit. And again, with that line of credit from 500 up to 35. But then you, like I said, they have some states that they just offer installment loans. So say that you're in Idaho, then you have an installment loan. And in terms of that installment loan, from 200 up to $2,500. Okay. Now, here's the thing about it. I always tell you guys is that many of the time they're not going to do a hard pull on the credit. And the reason is because of third party credit bureaus, but we're going to talk about that in a minute. Now, for you guys that are entrepreneurs, you can check out Giggle Finance. Now, they offer loans up to $5,000. All right. And here's the thing about it so you understand who would be able to qualify for this here type of loan. But you can see here, no credit requirements. All right. So that's the thing about it. You don't have to worry about your credit when trying to get this here loan. So if you've been in the gig economy, and I'll give you more of a breakdown in a minute, this is where one lender you should check out. So they are app-based freelancers. Like if you use an Uber, Lyft, rideshare, handyman, then even if you're like a trucker in the taxi, also if you're MLM, right? So even if you're MLM, they will offer you a loan because most lenders don't even recognize MLMs as businesses, and they have a very hard time. So this is definitely an option for you. But just keep in mind the interest rates is definitely going to be much higher. Now, in terms of the requirements for a loan like this, they usually want you to be on a platform for 90 days receiving payment. So you have to have an active checking account. Now, does that have to be a business checking account? No, you don't have to have an active business checking account. However, they're going to use like Plaid or Decision Logic to verify that you actually do have income coming in. All right. And so, as a matter of fact, here's some of their qualifications here. Does not have credit requirements. So for many people that's struggling and trying to get more funding and stuff, this is a big help. This is a big help for you. Another lender that many of you are familiar with is One Main Financial. Now, here's the thing about it. know that one main financial, a lot of people don't like the interest rate. They're much higher or whatever. But one thing about it, you do have a higher chance of getting a higher limit when you have challenging credit, right? And as a matter of fact, you can actually check to see what you pre-qualify for. And their loans go from 1,500 up to 20,000. Now, when you get above 10,000, sometimes they may ask for collateral. It just depends on how bad the credit is. All right. So that's something that you also have to take into consideration. How bad is your credit? Now, that being said, I always tell people before you even apply for these high interest rate loans, if you work in a job, you need to go to your HR and you need to ask them to file exempt for you so you can stop paying federal taxes. Look, this is nothing for you to be ashamed about, because this is your actual money, your hard-earned money that you actually are paying taxes on. So you are entitled to be able to stop paying taxes. All it is, when you file your taxes the following year, again, long as you don't owe any taxes, you still qualify. Or you didn't owe any taxes for the past year, you still get approved for this here type of loan. This is one of the best things that you can actually do, because you're bringing more money in your paycheck to help you get caught up on bills instead of getting these high interest rate loans. All right. Now, you have another lender, and that's Net Credit. With Net Credit, again, because they offer the personal loans up to $10,000. Now, some people don't like Net Credit, and I get it. The thing about it with Net Credit, they won't do a hard pull on your credit until you actually accept the loan. All right. So that's the reason you're able to actually check to see if you qualify. All right. Now, here's the thing about it for most people that's confusing, is that they may get denied even though they may have good credit. Well, the thing about it, I always tell you, the biggest thing that stops people, regardless of the credit, from being approved is because you may have an outdated address from the third-party credit bureaus, because they won't use the third-party credit bureaus to check your information. They will use the third-party credit bureaus to check your credit. Okay, they're not going to use the major credit bureaus. All right, and so I'll show you some so that you can understand. So like Teletrack, if you ever taken out a loan online, then Teletrack collects that data. They're owned by Equifax. And yes, you can get your report. You can request your report. All right, so you have that one. Then you also have Data X, which is owned by Equifax as well. And you can get all of your reports. I always tell you. Then you also have LexisNexis. Now, the reason that I'm showing you this, again, because most people thinking that they're getting denied because of their credit. It has nothing to do with the credit. Most of the time, it's the information that you're putting on the application that's not matching up with these third-party credit bureaus. Now, I would tell you this. You have a higher chance of approval making sure that your income after taxes is at least $1,000 a month. Okay, that's after taxes, $1,000 a month. So that's the reason, again, some people may not qualify, because they may not be showing enough income. All right, so worried about a debt to income ratio, that's not the concern here. All right, so let's talk about some more of these loans. So the next loan, we're talking about Viva Loan. Now, again, with Viva Loan being a platform, as you can see, they offer loans from $100 up to $15,000. All right. And please understand, with Viva Loan, they're not in every state. All right. So that's another thing. People are applying for certain loans and stuff, but if you're not in that state, they can't service you. So it isn't that the information doesn't work. It's just that you're not in that servicing state. So you have to keep an open mind about this. Now, you have another one. As an entrepreneur, you can go to Lendeska. It's a platform for small business owners and things of that nature. If you're in the gig economy, this is a place that you would check out, Lendeska. And as you can see, they loan up to $20,000 for 18 months. And you can get the money within 24 hours, all right? And so the interest rates they show you is as low as 20%, right? Now, here's some of the criterias. All right. They want your annual revenue. So your annual revenue is 25,000. So break that up into 12. You're looking at what, about 2150 a month or something like that. So you're not making a whole lot of money, but they want you to be in business for at least 3 months and to have a minimum score of 550. All right. But definitely when you try with these people, they're not going to do a hard pull on the credit. Okay. Like I said, they use these third parties. So now you would know. Now there's another lender. This is Max Personal Loans. All right. Now with Max Personal Loan, they offer loans up to 50,000. Now the difference between them, like you say, Upstart or Upstart loans, right? The difference is this is a tribal lender. Okay. And so with tribal lenders, they have more flexibility, like I was telling you about Explore Credit. They have more flexibility in terms of approving you. All right. So again, yes, they do use third-party financial credit bureaus in order to approve you, and they're not in every state, but at the same time, you would have a higher chance or easier chance being approved with these type of lenders versus your traditional banks and credit unions, especially when you have bad credit. So I hope this information has some value to you. If you have any questions, you can click the link in the description. Thank you.